football 12 times. So, yeah, Johnny, that's the million-dollar question, though, J-Rock, is what you just said. It's in these next 3 games or however many games or the off-season, are these things correctable? And then are they correctable in Johnny's eyes, and are they correctable in the Cleveland Browns organization's eyes? And that's what it comes down to. I mean, that's the million-dollar question. Are these fixable things, or is this the way this kid plays, and this is going to be a Tim Tebow situation all over again?
Right, and then you have to do what organizations do, which is decide if they're fixable. Is the all the work you do risk reward? You go, man, if we fix all this, if we tweak this, if we put him like this, then how good can he be? And then you determine if that work and all of that resources that you put in is worth what the top end can be. If it is, then you go forward. If you go, man, we put all that work in and we still think he can only be about this good, that's when you start talking about moving those resources in a different direction. And all that is part of the evaluation that the Browns are finding themselves in now. Some of it will be seeing what you see in 3 games, and some of it will be projecting ahead what you hope you can turn that talent into. All right, Dawg Bone number 2.
All right, Dawg Bone number 2, J-Rock. We're just going to go with some facts here. Dawg Bone number 2 is 100 yards both ways. This Dawg Bone is for both teams. When the Browns run for 100 yards or more, they're 4-1 on the season. When they don't, they're 2-6. On the flip side, Cleveland is 0-4 when allowing a 100-yard rusher. Jeff Gorman brought up a good point in the last segment. It was Jonathan Stewart has rushed for 200 yards in the last 2 games. He's actually had 300-yard rushing games in his last 3, and has averaged about 4.5 a carry. So, just like you said, I think the Carolina Panthers are going to mimic what the Cincinnati Bengals did and watch the videotape and see where the weaknesses are and attack. So rushing the football, 100 yards is Dawg Bone number 2. Against the Bengals, the Browns gave up 244 yards, allowed 5.5 yards per carry. The task this week, like I said, is Jonathan Stewart, 100 yards plus in his last 3 games. The magic number for Stewart, if you go back and watch these last 3 games, is 20 carries. Jonathan Stewart gets 20 carries and gets 100 yards. I think the Browns are going to lose. So, Dawg Bone number 2, 100 yards. Keep Jonathan Stewart under 100 yards. I think it's a winnable game. Browns rush for over 100 yards. I don't care how you do it. If it's Manziel for 25, Crowell for 50, and West for another 25. I don't care how you do it. Find a way to get 100 yards, and the Browns are going to win this game.
Well, there we go, man. And I'll tell you what, thing is with Stewart can play, man. I like him maybe a little more than some people do, but the Browns make guys you never heard of look good here in the running game. We've seen it time and time again, and that's the thing I worry about the most. And we'll see. When you look at the injury report, as you mentioned, there's a lot of guys saying, they're game time decisions, guys trying to play. But a lot of times, on Sundays, you end up with half of those guys trying to play, not playing. And then you look at it's no excuses. It's best man up. That's one of the reasons why I hesitate to really lean too much in the Browns' direction until I see who's going to play out there. Because defensively, it can go a lot of different ways. But if they gash them like Cincinnati, it doesn't matter. And the Browns aren't going to win this game. If they let Stewart average 4 yards, it's not even 5. Stewart averages 4 yards a carry, man. The Browns are probably going to lose this game, because it's going to come down. I see it coming. I see it being low scored and coming. Then again, maybe you get 2 teams that decide not to play defense at all. Maybe we end up with one of those crazy, ugly, high-scoring shootouts. But I see it being low scoring and coming down to the fourth quarter, man. And I don't know if the Browns defense has another game where they come up and make a play, because I think if the Browns are going to win this game, yeah, it's going to be a little bit on the running game, but the defense, they're going to need a turnover. They're going to need a pick 6. They're going to need the defense one more time to come through and help them win a ball game. And I just don't know if that defense has one more big game in them. If they do, I expect it to be this weekend.
Yeah, I agree with you, J-Rock. I think the defense is going to be a huge part of this game. Some small interesting fact about the defense. Browns' defense has 20 interceptions. They have 91 pass defenses on the season, and that's number 1 in the NFL in both of those categories. According to ProFootballFocus.com, they are the number one secondary in the NFL. So and obviously that's with Joe Hayden, and hopefully, he plays. But I think defense is definitely going to be a huge part of this game because, as we saw last week, Browns aren't going to be able to do it all on their own on offense, if anything at all.
You're listening to the Sports Fix. J-Rock, Ryan Ruiz doing the 3 Dawg Bones to a Browns victory. My man, 2 down, 1 to go. This is a big one. Final one. What's your third and final Dawg Bone key to a Browns victory?
All right, SF listeners, you ready for the Ryan Ruiz wearing my heart on my sleeve and passionate Dawg Bone, because it's coming here. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of a rant here. All right, J-Rock.
All right.
Dawg Bone number 3 is find a way to get to 500. For the first time since 2007, the Browns have a chance to get to 500, to a 500 record. More importantly, not a losing season. Let's just take a step back and look at what we predicted at the beginning of the season here, J-Rock. We predicted the Sports Fix panel. My daughter is screaming in the background, J-Rock. I'm sorry. Right. We predicted, I think, between 3 and 7 wins with everybody. So, and I myself predicted 6. Has there been drama this season? Yeah. As Browns fans, have we sniffed the playoff word? Yeah, we have. Fundamentally, though, J-Rock, watching this team all year, knowing everything that I know about this team, I believe they're there and they're going in the right direction. We need a small example. Like I pointed out, the Browns secondary is number 1 in the NFL with 20 interceptions. Number 1 in the NFL with 91 pass defenses. And like I said, according to Pro Football Focus, they are number 1 secondary in the NFL. It's almost like with Browns fans, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't with Browns fans. Many times in the last 15 years, we were not talking about meaningful football in December. This year, we were talking about it. Instead, in the past, we were talking about a draft spot that we were going to get. I mean, give this city a Merry Christmas and find a way, pick up the intensity, beat a 5-8-1 Panthers team. If they can't, here's the reality. The Browns are most likely not going to, just like you guys pointed out earlier, they're not going to beat the Ravens next week. And the Ravens are a team also fighting for a legitimate playoff spot. That being said, the Browns would end the season on a 5-game losing slide. They would lose 6 of their last 7. And a win this week is imperative. 8-8 would be a win for this city, this fan base, and a Merry Christmas to everybody. And you got to remember one thing. If they finish 8-8 by the end of the season with 53 men on their roster, 12 of them are rookies, and with the exception of 1 or 2 of them, they've all had significant, important playing time this season, J-Rock. So Dawg Bone number 3, find a way. Find a way to get to 500. If you win this week, you will get to 500.
That's the key. What do you think they do?
I'm going to go with it. I'm going to stick with my fire, and I'm going to go with it. I think this is going to be an ugly win, but a win's a win in the NFL, and it's a pass-fail league. I think they're going to get a lot of help from the defense. I think they're going to get a lot of help they're going to get some help from special teams, but this is going to be an ugly win as far as the score. I think it's going to be 13-6, 13-7. I think the Browns are going to do it.
I love it. I love this town, man. Brian Hoyer can't get an ugly win, though, but Johnny Manziel can get all the ugly wins in the world, man, and people will celebrate it. I'm just, the hypocrisy drives me nuts because of what you said. They are where they are after only in Cleveland, man. Sometimes when you see the way a season like this shakes out, with the way things went and who helped and who didn't and who got, whatever, man. Sometimes you go, man, it's hard to feel sorry for you sometimes. It's hard to feel sorry for you sometimes when the grass is always greener on the other side until you go, damn, I didn't realize it was that green. Yeah, the wrong kind of green. But anyways, my friend, you know what I'm saying, Ryan? I'm just saying that 2 weeks ago, or excuse me, a month ago, when you used the word ugly win with Hoyer, it's like, well, we could be winning so much better. We're winning in spite of him. Now, people are begging, please let us win in spite of the quarterback this week. I just think that's pretty funny, man. You know, please let us win in spite of Johnny Football. Can he game manage the Browns to a victory against the Panthers? But if you used those same words a month ago, you were embracing mediocrity. That's what I was told. Embracing mediocrity by hoping to win in spite of your quarterback. And yet we just spent today game planning how the Browns can win in spite of their quarterback. It's awesome. You gotta love it, man. That's why I say sometimes I find it hard to feel bad for some people, because I'm like, you know what? You could have just sat back and enjoyed 8-8 and Brian Hoyer, give him a standing ovation, because part of me says, hey, that final home game, you should have been like, hey, good job for pulling everything you could out of this team and misfits and undrafted players with everybody being injured. Should have been a feel-good final home game of the season. Instead, people said, hey, can't wait to get that bum out of town soon enough so that we can start the future. Well, the future is here, so it is what it is.
J-Rock, that sums up my damned if you do, damned if you don't comment.
I know it. I knew what you meant.
That's right there.
I knew what you meant, because that drives me crazy, because really that's the way it should have played itself out. In all reality, that's the way this season should have played itself out. And then yeah, your final 2 weeks of the season, if you're out of it, you do what you do. But that would have been a deserving way to end a hell of a season for all the things that you undid, and that moment didn't happen. And you can say, oh, who cares if Brian Hoyer didn't get his moment? It ain't just Brian Hoyer that didn't get his moment. Cleveland fans didn't either, because they would have looked like, hey, man, wow, man, we appreciate this. Instead, the grass was greener on the other side until you realized, damn, we need to buy a better lawnmower because that grass isn't as green as it looked over the fence. All right, Ryan, I hope you're right. I hope Jeff Gorman's right. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Browns go and win this game this weekend in spite of the quarterback. No, I do. I hope they win. I don't care who does it. I don't care if it's Manziel. I don't care if it's the defense. I don't care if they ride the crow to the end zone. Just go win this game and finish 8-8, man. And then we can hope to maybe ruin Baltimore's playoff hopes or something next week. But it would be a lot easier to look at that if we're coming off of a win against Cam Newton's Panthers here. Ryan, great week, great Dawg Bones as always. Cannot wait to get here next week, and we'll see, man, post-Christmas. I do think, roughly, I'm going to estimate now that I will perhaps do a show on Friday. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure of that. If not, you and I will figure something out. But either way, just in case we don't, of course, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and all of that from us here. And we'll catch up. It'll either be Friday, or maybe it'll be Tuesday, or maybe it'll be next week. But we'll catch up here, and we'll talk about this game and the Ravens and whatever else.
Absolutely, J-Rock. Merry Christmas to you and all your Sports Fix listeners. And I have to go inside and take care of my 2.5-year-old because she's destroyed the house. So
go do what you got to do. Do what you got to do, my friend. We'll talk soon. Thank you, Ryan Ruiz, DogPoundNation.com. You guys can check him out. He writes for them, Browns beat writer. He also does 3 Dawg Bones to victory for them and for us here every Friday on the Sports Fix. All right, guys. Final segment coming up here. Let's take a break. Let's get ready to wrap this thing up. Cavaliers, Nets, we'll preview that. Monsters won last night. We'll set the stage for the weekend. I've got some basketball coming up in a couple hours. I'll tell you guys about that and more. Final segment of the Sports Fix coming up next. I like it. That's the way. I like it. With love is pleasure. Yeah, I like it.
And now, a very special announcement from the Sports Fix.
Black bears weigh between 200 and 500 pounds. Brown bears weigh between 300 and over 1,000 pounds. Black bears run away from you. Brown bears run at you. When attacked by a bear, simply lie still on the ground and cover your face and head with your hands. When the bear is finished batting you around and mauling you, contact the U.S. Forest Service.
And that was a message from the Sports Fix.
Guys, want to take just a second as we head into this break and remind you about the official business printing source of the Sports Fix, our friends at Signs and Ship. Signs and Ship, I'm telling you, Chris and Pam, they've taken care of me since day one, and they can do the same for you.